Communism is a belief in the destruction of belief. It destroys religion wherever it goes, and yet it functions like a religion, or rather, an evil cult. Let's see. Now, in communism, there are leaders who act as prophets. There's scripture. There are followers, fanatics, precepts, and rules, requirements for faith in the party, and there's punishment for non-believers. The cult of communism lures people by preaching secular salvation and a man-made utopia, and this leads to dystopias. So who is the unholy father of communism? Marx? Well, he popularized it and sharpened it, but the origins go back further. Francois Noel Gracchus Babeuf. Babeuf believed in the elimination of money. He's also regarded as the first revolutionary communist. In his imagined system, people would hand over their work to a common storehouse owned by an all-powerful government, which would then redistribute it back to the people. Babeuf launched the Conspiracy of Equals after the failures of the French Revolution. It was a blueprint for violent revolution against the French government. The plot failed. Babeuf was arrested and beheaded in 1797. But one of his conspirators who survived was Philippe Buonarroti. Philippe created the League of Outlaws, which was built on Babeuf's ideas. Then came Wilhelm Weitling, a German tailor who took Babeuf's ideas, added in some of his own Christian apocalypse vision into the mix, and renamed the League of Outlaws to the League of the Just. In the 1700s and 1800s, secret societies were on the rise, with many of them popping up across Europe. The League of the Just would eventually merge under the Blanquist Rebellion. However, the Blanquist Rebellion failed in 1839, so the League of the Just again renamed itself, this time as the Educational Society for German Working Men in 1840. At a Congress in June 1847, the League of the Just joined under the Communist Correspondence Committee, which was formed a year earlier by Marx and Engels. The manifesto would be published 1 year after, and regarded as scripture by future communist leaders, who all had insatiable bloodlust. These movements culminated in the Paris Commune of 1871, regarded as the first communist government. In just over 2 months, they would kill tens of thousands and destroy roughly a quarter of Paris's arts and cultural relics. But their work would still be far from over. France and America were both suffering under tyrannies in the late 1700s. The American Revolution fought against imperial rule to create a system that limited the power of government with a 3-branch system. The Americans fought for the idea that government is instituted among men only to protect the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They expanded liberties in one nation under God. The French Revolution, however, replaced absolute imperial rule with absolute rule in a socialized system. It stripped personal liberties with one nation under a state cult. The French Revolution would be remembered for its unjust bloodshed, killing over 300,000 people. It was a period known as the Reign of Terror. When Babeuf was alive, he was a member of the Jacobins Club, a revolutionary society in France at the time. In this club also was the infamous Maximilien Robespierre, lover of the guillotine and public executions. Before the Jacobins took power, they were divided between the moderate Girondins and the radical Montagnards. Robespierre led the radicals, and once he attained power in 1793, the first people he beheaded were the Girondins. One of the radical Jacobins, Louis Antoine de Saint-Just, justified this as, "You can hope for no prosperity as long as the last enemy of liberty breathes. You have to punish not only the traitors, but even those who are neutral." So unless you are a devout follower of the socialized system, you'll be branded a heretic and hunted down and killed in cult fashion. This happened under the official atheist state cult, the Cult of Reason, which purged religious believers under the de-Christianization movement. The Jacobins also legally purged people under the law of suspects, which made guilty anyone acting suspiciously, associating with the wrong people, or saying or writing anything considered out of line. With that law alone, they beheaded over 16,000 people. But they weren't finished. The leaders of the French Revolution used utopia to justify violence and labeled swaths of society as enemies of the revolution, and each new law identified a new set of enemies. The famous essayist G.K. Chesterton once said that the new socialist systems are not rebelling against an abnormal tyranny. They're rebelling against what they think is a normal tyranny, the tyranny of the normal. They are not in revolt against the king, he wrote. They're in revolt against the citizen. What motivated these movements was a new belief, deeply rooted in naturism and Gnosticism, which was reason over faith and man over God. Their belief in unrestrained human nature, rather than moral aspirations, mirrored the materialist ideologies that communism would later adopt. It was the idea that if nature takes precedence, anything that springs from human nature is then correct, including any crime and any sin. When people sign up for communism, they think they're signing up to create a system for the people. Instead, the system destroys the people. Time and time again, whenever it's fallen, communism simply gets back up, puts on another mask, renames itself, and tries to con people again, using the idea of the greater good.
His blood